on the way home from state basketball, and all they cared about was finding an open house. And we stopped at 3 before we got our chicken nuggets finally in Victoria at 11:30 p.m.
We got chicken nuggets.
All right, high school. I'm subbing in for Mr. Hewer today. He wanted me to tell everyone a big thank you for all your work during the winter sports season. And he also wanted me to express to you that, remember our last awards assembly, we weren't as maybe respectful as we should have been. So if everyone could please, give your attention up here and recognize all these athletes on their achievements, sit back and enjoy it and give them your attention. So we'll just go straight through this. We'll start with cheer and then go to dance, Scholars Bowl, wrestling, Lady Indians basketball, and then basketball. So once each one's done, the next person just come on up. And again, if we can give everyone your full attention, that'd be appreciated. Thank you. Here we go, cheer.
Hey everyone, I'm going to keep this short and sweet for you. This group, as they're getting up here, is everybody here? Yeah, scoot down a little, Jera. This was a good group of kids to work with this year. They kind of had a rough beginning, not knowing what was going on with sponsors, but they just rolled with it and we got things done. And Kelsey and I are very proud of them. So I'm just going to call your name and you can find your certificate and your bar and pin. Jera Butterfield. Woo! Olivia Phillips. Katen Gattenbein. Landon Reeves. Gracie Smith. Kiera Davidson. Emma Teal. Dakota Boss. Thank you. Good job, kids. Woo. Dancers.
Are you ready, dancers? Okay. Does your best seniors I've ever had in the entire life? You should.
This is the high school dance team, voted best dance team in the county by one person on Facebook. Woo! No, obviously I think they're the best dance team in the county, so they're great. But I really enjoy working with these girls. They work really hard, especially during basketball season. They're learning routines for a Tuesday night game and then a different routine for a Friday night game. So it's a lot of dancing. I appreciate all their hard work. It's a lot of fun. It becomes pretty much a family. And we got to dance at state basketball this year. That was kind of the highlight. We danced at halftime of the TMP Galena game. And then afterwards, we spent an extra 2 hours coming home from Hutchinson in a blizzard looking for McChickens with extra mayo, because the girls insisted that we get McDonald's before we come home. So we tried McDonald's in Hutch, Newton, and finally in Emporia, we got McDonald's. So big achievement, chicken nuggets. Okay, so everyone lettered in dance this year. Our freshmen are Kirsten Dayhoff, Madeline Renfro, Sadie Shoemaker, and Tamia Waller. And then sophomores are Paige Burke, Emery Camarina, Emily Mullins, and Riley Pettigene. And our junior was Greta Crawford. And then our seniors and co-captains and all-around amazing people are Kaylin Burke and Dally Sent. Thank you, guys.
All right, if the Scholars Bowl participants could all come up. All right. While they're walking up to the stage, just kind of a bit of an introduction. If you're not familiar with the game of Scholars Bowl, it's a lot about what you know, but it's a little bit more about being confident in what you know and having the confidence to buzz in and beat your opponents to the buzzer, and have a good understanding of the rules and knowledge of the game, so that sometimes you can negate an opponent's answer based on them not following the proper procedure. This was really a pretty exciting year for this group. We had several really good finishes in several tournaments. Started off the season really, really well with a second place finish at the Northern Heights tournament, first place finish at the Mission Valley tournament, and then a first place finish here at our home tournament. We got into the middle of the season and it got a little tough with scheduling. We started having conflicts with basketball and wrestling, and not having our whole varsity squad together. But we were able to come together for most of us for the last two meets. We were shorthanded going to the league meet. Didn't have our full varsity squad. We competed pretty well, and in several of the rounds came up one question short, 2 questions short of a top 3 finish at the league meet. So that one went really, really well. Regionals competition was really good for us. We finally had our full varsity squad back together again, and we ended up in a 3-way tie for third place going into finals. The team that left our pool going into finals also qualified to state, and they beat us out in the tiebreaker, not by how they played us, because they beat the other team in the tiebreaker by more points than they beat us. So it was really a really competitive, challenging meet. This group did really, really well. And again, even in the tournaments that we didn't end up in the top 3, we were always challenging for it. And in multiple rounds, just missing it by 1 question, 2 questions here and there. They were extremely competitive group. So just long story short, let me introduce some of them, or those that are up here. Let's see, senior Tanner Teal. Sophomore Josiah Smith. Ain't you a sophomore? Yeah. I always forget if Mila's a senior or a junior because she's been here so long. I thought she was a senior. Senior Mila Little. Also participant, freshman Robert Jones. I've got 2 provisional letter winners this year. The first is freshman Luke Ornder. Luke is one of the kids who stepped up in our scheduling and not having the varsity all the time. He was able to fill in for us when we was needed, and he did really well. I look forward to seeing him next year. And also provisional letter Noah Lohmeyer. All right. Letter winners this year were junior Halen Lacey, junior Pearl Kautzman, sophomore Zane Ornder, there's something to be said about consistency. You're consistent. Uh-oh. Okay, yeah. And then final two letter winners. I want to talk just a little bit about these two guys. Sean Mcintosh and Bryson Murphy. Well, these two guys are going to be missed a lot. They're both been 3-year starting varsity members. They both got varsity action as freshmen. They've been very competitive. Their knowledge, their experience, not just of what they know from the classroom, but their understanding of the game of Scholars Bowl, the understanding of the procedure, and how to effectively use challenges. These guys were very effective throughout the season in challenging against opponents' answers and really putting us in great positions so that we can win. These guys, again, their knowledge and experience is going to be greatly missed next year. I've really enjoyed having them. I am really looking forward to the group coming up behind them because there is a lot of good knowledge and experience in the group coming behind them. So thank you very much. It was a great season. Didn't quite end where we wanted it to, but we fought and challenged every step along the way. So thank you guys very much. Oh, hold on. Hey, let me get. Okay. Got everyone? Where's Sarah?
Sarah's not here.
Sarah's not here. Okay, so these are your wrestlers from this year. And as everyone knows, next year OCHS will have their own program. So I'm looking forward to working with all these guys. I know we have a couple seniors, David, who this was his first year, and then Mickey Mulliken, who is not here right now. So with that, everyone knows the state qualifiers and looking forward to big things. So we'll go ahead and just go through the list, okay? So Josiah Smith, GP, Garrett Morris, he's not here. Freshman, Dryston Long. Hey. Mr. Collins. Mickey Mulliken. David. Noah Carlson. Mm-hmm. Taylor. I have two provisionals. Sarah, she's not here today. She earned herself a provisional letter. And then we have Tomas. David and Calvin. You guys got papers too. So like I said, looking forward to big things next year from all these guys. They put in the hard work, and you guys come out and watch it. Hey, who needs pens? Yeah, I was gonna say. You need a bar. You need a bar. You need a bar. You need a bar. Oh, here.
Okay, I'll get started with the girls. I brought my glasses. I've kind of turned to where I got to have reading glasses. I wasn't for sure if there's going to be enough light or not today, but I think there is, so I should be okay without them. So let's go ahead and have the girls come up if they would, basketball girls. Actually. Good for you. All right. In order for a basketball season to take place, there's a lot of people that I need to thank to get us started in order for it to be a successful season. I always want to start out with Mr. Heward and the administration just for the support and getting everything set up throughout the year. Anytime you have any questions, he's easy to go to. Also, Jen in the office, she gets all her certificates ready for this. I'm always calling her, asking her this question, that question. I just appreciate all the work that she does. Alan back there. We got some of the nicest facilities around, and he's a huge part of that. So thank you, Alan. Want to thank Alan also driving the bus a little bit for us, and then Sandy Lopez most of the time would drive the girls' bus. Thanks for the safe bus trips. Mr. Nicholas and the band do a great job. It's always nice coming out whenever the band. You can tell the difference when the band's playing and when they're not. It's just a different feel and get you ready to go. Mrs. Camarina and the dance team. We share a lot of girls, so I really appreciate her being easy to work with as far as practices and working those type of things out. So thank you, Mrs. Camarina. Andy, Kylie, and the AV Club, I want to thank them. I know there's a lot of people that watch the games over that. I'm always getting a lot of compliments. Corey and Ellie and the whole crew that's involved in that. Thank you guys for doing that. You don't have to do it, but it's really nice, and there's a lot of people that appreciate it. I want to thank Mrs. Tice. She would do our books pretty much every game. There was a game or two that she couldn't, and Mrs. Crawford filled in, so I want to thank them for doing that on the road for us. Dalton Rush, he would do all our road games. He's been there since the beginning and does a great job. Don't have to worry about anything for him. He's always responsible. He's checking when we're leaving, what we're doing. He's just very proactive as far as that goes, and I appreciate it. It's a big relief, so thank you. The Kitzelman family, they donated a Dr. Dish for the basketball team this year, and we got a lot of use out of it. And I'm really looking forward to this summer. We got a lot of plans for that this summer, so I want to thank them for that donation. Cheerleaders and the sponsors, Nicole, Kelsey, everybody that was involved in that. Thank you guys. Mr. Coach Gantbine and the weight crew during the summer. You know, they really put a lot into the girls throughout the summer and make them feel important and really care and put a lot into them. So I want to thank him for that. My managers this year, we had Haley Lloyd. She started out playing and then it didn't work out, so she turned to a manager and was able to stay with the team. So I want to thank her for that. And then Kinsey, Bellinger, and Kaylin. They're really nervous about being up here, by the way. But I want to thank them. They were always there, and we could always count on them, and they did a great job. Also want to thank my wife, Jessie. You know, during basketball season, you're gone a lot, and there's a lot of stuff to do at home, and she takes care of all of that stuff, and I really appreciate it. Also want to thank Coach Gonzalez, Coach Spicer for the middle school girls, always having them ready to go when they come up to the high school. So thank you guys for all your hard work with them. And then Coach Keefe isn't here, but Coach Keefe and Coach Boss back here, you know, I feel very, very fortunate. I got two great assistant coaches. You know, I think they're great role models for the girls. I couldn't really ask for any better coaches. So thank you for all your work throughout the season. And then the girls. So I want to thank the girls here, you know, their commitment, their hard work, their dedication throughout the season. They work hard on the floor. They work hard off the floor. All the time that they put into it. GPA, you know, I think at Christmas break it was 3.84 or something like that. So, I mean, that's pretty amazing. So I appreciate all their work they do on the floor and in the classroom. Hopefully I didn't forget anybody else, but I really appreciate everybody that is involved. Okay. You know, as coaches, we really enjoyed the girls this year. We appreciate their willingness to come to practice, their willingness to work hard. They always have a great attitude at practice. This year was a really fun year. As far as personalities and everything in practice, and always counting on them to work hard. You never really had to you know, sometimes you got to just really work on some people to get them to work hard, but these girls would come every day, and they did. And they worked hard, and I couldn't ask for much more. The varsity record this year, we were 9-13, and the JV record was 10-4. Some of the accomplishments that the varsity did this season is we finished third in our preseason tournament. During the regular season of league, we finished 5th. During the league tournament, we finished 4th, and then we won the first round of the sub-state. We're a pretty young team this year. Didn't have a lot of upperclassmen out, but you know, I really feel like the girls made some strides. They stuck together, worked hard, and showed a lot of improvement throughout the year. In the league tournament, we finished 4th. Going into it, I felt like we were playing pretty well. We played the #1 seed in the semifinals and ended up losing a close game right there. We were right there with them. And then for third place, we ended up losing that game by just 1 point, you know, but really I was fairly pleased with them because of, honestly, we only really had about one healthy upperclassman playing, because we had Hannah, who was battling a foot injury pretty much the first part of the season, and then Liz, she was battling a groin injury. Hannah played in the tournament, but she just got back, if I remember right. So you know how that is, trying to get your legs and your wind underneath you. And then Liz had a groin injury that she was trying to play through, and it really affected her, and we ended up having to shut her down after the league tournament for a while. You know, after the league tournament, we got a pretty tough schedule, which I really like, but it is tough when you got a young team, you know, but I felt like we handled it pretty well. You know, there wasn't a lot of wins after Christmas break, but I thought they really competed hard, and they never quit. You know, the second round of sub-state game kind of says a lot about them. We were playing Santa Fe, which is the #1 seed, and going into that game, Santa Fe was a good team. You know, going into that game, they jumped on us early. I mean, there's no doubt. They got up on us early. So that's kind of the point where you got to look at yourself and you got to say, okay, what am I going to do here? Am I going to fight and compete for the name on our jerseys, or are we just going to shut it down and call it the season? You know, and it would have been easy to shut it down because they jumped on us big, but the girls didn't. So I think that says a lot about them. You know, they fought and just worked their tails off. And actually, we won the last 3 quarters of the game. So to me, that says a lot about them, of not quitting and shutting it down. So I really appreciate that out of them. Okay, so I'll go ahead and pass out the certificates here. We'll get D-Rush. I got yours here. We'll get to you here in a little bit for that. Managers, we got Haley Lloyd. Can you give her 2 clap? Yeah. Probably need to get one. Yeah, probably need to get one. Okay, got Kaylin Boss, manager. You Kaylin? Got Kenzie Bellinger, manager. All right, those are managers. And then our freshmen with the smaller team. Usually I just talk about the seniors a little bit, but I'm going to talk a little bit about each girl, since we do have a smaller team. So freshman-wise, you know, I liked our freshman group. I thought they were a good group. They're hard workers, and they got some potential. You know, one thing, they'll need to keep working, getting stronger in the weight room, keep working on their basketball game. Start with Sadie. Sadie ended up running the point for us, and you know, in high school basketball, running the point's not an easy job, especially as a freshman. And Sadie was asked to do that, and I thought she stepped in there, and I thought she did a really good job of running the point for us. So Sadie earned a letter this year. All right. Lexi. Lexi was one of those. She was asked to play multiple positions. She had to play some guard. She had to play some post. She kind of filled in wherever we needed her to play. Lexi is a real, she was a real tough player in my mind, you know, especially in practice when she's going up against sometimes Greta and Campbell and some of those. She was just really working them hard and working them over. And I think Lexi's got a bright future, and I appreciate all her hard work, and she earned a letter this year. So. All right. Kirsten and Kiera, you know, they didn't get a lot of varsity time this year, but they were a big part of our team. They were a really big part of our JV team in practice. You know, whenever we had a scout team going, they were part of our scout team, and they did a great job of that. Kiera, first high school game ever over at Northern Heights, hits a game-winning 3, you know, pretty much at the buzzer to win by 1, you know. So that was that's what I was telling her afterwards, you know, man, not many freshmen get to come in and hit the game-winning shot, you know, your first ever high school game. So that was pretty exciting thing for her. But I'm looking forward to these girls coming out next year, keep working hard, and just improving for next year. So we got Kiera that earned a participation and Kirsten Dayhoff that earned a participation. Harley, there she is. Harley didn't get a play early in the year. The second year in a row, we've had a kneecap that's popped out when we were in the middle of practice, and hers happened. It happened to her early, and that's something she was working on all year, trying to get that stronger. So she didn't get a play this year. Hopefully that thing gets healed up, and we'll get her going for next year. So we got Harley with a participation. All right, so now I'll go with the sophomores. Sophomores were a big part of our team this year. There's lots of potential in our sophomores. I'll start with Campbell. I think Campbell made a lot of improvements early in the year. I would say she was pretty inconsistent as far as finishing the basket, you know. She'd make a good move, you think she got it, and then she just missed it for whatever reason. But then she wouldn't, you know, so inconsistent early on. But as the season went, Campbell became a force for us. She really worked on finishing the baskets. A lot of our offense was rotated around there, and I thought she really became an animal for us as the season went on, and she was a real force. So I look forward to her keep working and getting better, and she earned all-league second team this year. And a letter. Good job, Campbell. Next sophomore is Georgia. You know, the thing about Georgia puts a ton of time in. She's staying pretty much every night after practice, working on something, getting up shots. A lot of times she's asking if I can get her into the gym and this and that. And Georgia puts a lot of time in. You know, to me, that's the secret to success, and that's going to take her a long way. So Georgia earned a letter this year. And then we got Callie the Sophomore. Okay, we loved having Callie on the team. You know, Callie was one of those, she didn't get a lot of varsity time, but she was one of those at practice. It was always fun, always lighten the mood a little bit and stuff like that. But one thing I got to say about Callie is, you know, in volleyball, she's a real good volleyball player, real good softball player. I personally think she's a good basketball player. She lacks a little confidence in basketball, but I personally do. But the thing about Callie is, like in the games, when I'm watching film and all those kind of things, whenever somebody's getting ready to score or even before the ball goes in the basket, I mean, she is up and halfway out on the floor half the time I'm watching those games. I don't know how we didn't get teed up most of the time, because she's out fired up and cheering them up halfway out on the floor. You know, usually it's a coach, you got to get back towards the bench and stuff, but she was always that. And I just love that about her. You know, it'd be easy for her to have a bad attitude or a negative attitude because she wasn't getting a lot of varsity time. But that's something that she never did, and I think that says a lot about her. So her enthusiasm was great. Callie earned a participation this year. All right, our lone junior, Greta, all 5'4" of her. You know, this year I asked Greta, she's always played a guard. Isn't that right? 5'6"? What are you? 5'4". Okay, she's always played guard. So I asked her to move down and play some post for us this year. I felt like that was an area that we needed as far as the team went. You know, and a lot of people, I mean, I don't think would have probably handled that well, but that's something about Greta, and I think that says a lot about Greta, the type of person she was. She never questioned it. I called her in, talked to her about it, ran it all by her, and she was willing to give it a try. And, you know, for being 5'4", I thought she got in there and she battled with the best of them. And I thought she really did. And she did it because the team needed her to do it. Probably not because it was the best for her, but it was because it was best for the team. And she did it with no questions asked. So I really appreciate that from Greta, and she earned a letter. Okay, our two seniors, Liz and Hannah. You know, I kind of felt bad for them. I talked about it a little bit earlier. Your senior year's usually your most exciting year, and they kind of battled injuries all year long. Hannah with the foot, and I don't know. I mean, I still think, I really think she showed a lot of toughness and toughed it out, because I don't know if it really did heal up, but I know she wanted to play, and she wanted to be out there, and I appreciate her showing all that toughness there. And then like Liz with the groin at the midseason tournament, she didn't want to, but we thought we had a really good chance in sub-state, and we thought the best way to do that would be for her to take, I think, miss 6 games or something like that. So I felt bad for them that they had to do that, you know, their senior year. Both of them were 4-year players. You know, they're kind of extreme opposites of each other, if you know them that well. Hannah's real quiet, and Liz not so quiet, you know, but that's okay. But as opposite as they were, they're both really good players for our basketball team. I appreciate everything they've done over the 4 years for them. You know, they're a big part of our team. A couple years ago, we went to state. They were a big part of those state teams. So I want to thank them for that. We got Hannah, who earned a letter. She was a 3-year letter winner. Defensively, Hannah was all over the place. I mean, she would get hands on passes like you wouldn't believe. And I mean, you never knew how she did it, but she always seemed to get a hand on the ball defensively. Another trait for Hannah is she was a really good rebounder. Offensively, she was always crashing the boards. She didn't get it. She was always keeping it alive. And Hannah was also a great teammate for everybody. So Hannah earned a letter this year. Then we got Liz. She earned a letter all 4 years. You know, early in Liz's first couple years, she was more of a defensive stopper for us. You know, we'd put her on some of the team's better players, and she really bought into that. But as she became a junior, and especially this year as a senior, she became a big offensive threat for us, which was big. You know, Liz is one that loves basketball. She's always talking about basketball. She stops by once or twice a day, seems like, just wanting to talk basketball and always having little chats and stuff. So I'll miss that next year as she's gone. Liz, she earned all-league honorable mention this year. I think it probably would have been better if she wouldn't have had that injury, but it's one of those things. But she did get honorable mention, and Liz earned a letter. So I appreciate it. To finish this up, I appreciate everything they've done, all the hard work. I know basketball is a long season, and it's grinding, but to me, these girls are tough. They went out there and they showed toughness all year long, played lots of quarters. We had a lot of girls that were playing varsity. It was even having them play some JV, so they're building up tons of quarters, and that's tough. I mean, some of them would play 6 quarters a night, so it makes it tough. So I appreciate all they do. You know, the girls we got coming back next year, I'm really excited about it. I think there's a lot of potential there. But we can't just wait till basketball season and go off of that. We got to start this summer. You know, the weight room. We've always been good about the weight room. I can't stress that enough. We got to make that a priority. Make sure we get in weights class next year, and then just have a good summer of basketball and get basketball in our hands. So, all right, thank you. Turn it over to Coach Fort.
Okay, I'll have the boys come on up, please. Hey, put my group down here. Put Tyson.
Hey, Tyson's group down there.
Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. First of all, I'd as Mr. Coach Kirkpatrick went through and gave out a bunch of thank yous, a lot of my thank yous are the same, to be honest with you. And like you said, when you have a high school season, any sport, anything we do in high school, whether it's basketball or debate or the band or whatever, you have to have a lot of people help you to have success. First of all, I want to thank my coaches. Coach Bellinger and I have been together for 20 years. And I think I said this last year, but to have a head coach and an assistant coach that have coached together for that long, that's how you build consistency in your program. And it's been wonderful. And then obviously Coach Tice, who was a former player of mine, that just adds to what we're able to do. The cheer, the dance, the band, we always have the best spirit squads and all the stuff that go on with that. I want to thank our administration. There's going to be some changes around here. We're going to lose 2 really good administrators. Mr. Hutton started off 20-some years ago. He was our athletic director when we won state back in 2000. And from there, he became my high school principal. And then from there, he's moved on to our superintendent. And we're going to miss him. He's been unbelievable at not just the behind-the-scenes stuff, but I think you students need to realize he's at a lot of our events, whether it's a sporting event, whether it's basketball, football, baseball. I don't know how many times I've came into this auditorium and watched some of my kids in music programs or whatever, and he's always there. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of districts don't have superintendents that do that. They pawn it off on everybody else, and they go home and you don't see them. We're going to lose Mr. Heward. He's going to retire. Congratulations to him, and we're going to miss him. That's going to be a big change. So we'll have a lot of big changes in our school all the way across the board, and they've been wonderful to work with all these years. Our bus drivers, Sandy, Allen, Jeff taking us down to the state basketball. We did find out that out of everybody that can bowl, Mr. Pearson's the best bowler out of the bunch. Obviously, Alan Carlson, he always sets everything up, takes care of everything, cleans our place. He's just a super great person to have in our district. Our Board of Education, we don't have our athletics if we don't have the Board of Education and all the things that they're doing. Our Booster Club and our moms that gave us lunches when we went down to state, it was unbelievable to have all that support and being able to do the pep assembly before we went down to state and everything involved with that. It was just really good. Our AV club, as Mr. Kirkpatrick said, we get so many compliments from people about what's going on. I only had one complaint. If they're here, they'll know what I'm talking about, which is almost comical. But our AV club is just awesome, and that has been a neat deal. It was different this year. If you guys think back last year, we had to deal with COVID, and when we started off, we were limited to two fans per player. And just having everything back the way it was supposed to be with the band going and the spirit club, that's part of basketball, and that's part of the fun. And that's part of, when you live in a small community, sometimes you live for Tuesdays and Friday nights because that's when your community gets together. You get to see everybody, and it was good to have all that back. And it was a fun season. Obviously it was a fun season for us, the fact that we got to go to state and all that experience that went with that. Normally when you go to state, going to state is part of the fun, but the other part of the fun is getting to stay in the motel room. And, we had a big snowstorm after we got beat out at the state tournament, and we were still wanting to give the kids an experience that maybe they could remember for the rest of their lives. So when the game was done, we went and ate at Pizza Ranch, and then we took them bowling, and we got to go play laser tag, which I thought was a real fun deal for our kids to get an opportunity to do. So that's kind of my thank yous and kind of leading up to it, and we'll go through our different teams. We have enough kids. We have a lot more kids than the girls, so we're able to split up. And our C team kids, they go with Mr. Tice in the morning, and I'm pretty sure they start a practice at 6 o'clock every morning. And that's not easy when you're a freshman in high school, because sometimes you don't have a vehicle to drive and you have to figure out how to get to practice and all that. So just getting to practice and being able to finish the season for that, it's a lot of responsibility and it's a lot of maturity for them, which sometimes it's a good test for them when they're freshmen to check their maturity level. And they did a really good job. I think they ended up roughly 500, either 7-7 or 6-6, somewhere in that neck of the woods. But you always have to remember what C team is about. It's not always about winning. and losing. We're trying to get kids a chance to play, kids to grow, try to get game time in, learn how to play our way, and I think that was a good break-in season for them. Our JV, we went 9-5, and you know, sometimes we didn't have a full slate of JV kids for various reasons. Either kids were sick or gone or hurt or whatever, and for them to finish the season at 9-5 was really good. And just looking at the JV kids that played for us, a lot of our JV kids are going to have to be our varsity kids next year. And when you're a coach, and sometimes when you're a player in high school, you're limited to only 6 quarters a game, and we have to make a decision with some of our kids, our sophomore kids, sometimes our junior kids. Do we play them JV and play them a bunch, or do we just stick them in the varsity game and they only get to play maybe a minute or two a quarter? Well, we usually choose the route where they get a lot of playing time, and we're hoping that that all pays off with our JV kids for next year. And then our varsity, we'll talk about that. Our varsity this year, we went 20-4, but before I even start on that, at the beginning of every basketball season, I always turn over a piece of paper to these guys, and it has a list of goals. And the list of goals, number one, the very first goal is you try to win the preseason tournament over at Central Heights. The second goal is to win league. Then the third goal is to win the league tournament. Then the fourth goal is to try to win sub-state. And then the last goal, the ultimate goal, is to try to win state. In my 28 years of coaching here, we've only had one team that's ever been able to accomplish all 5 of those goals. It's not easy. It's hard. It's hard to do that. This team this year was able to accomplish 3 of those goals. The very first one, they won the preseason tournament over at Central Heights, and I thought beat a very good Olathe Heritage team in the championship game. We won our league this year, went undefeated in league. I think the highlight of our league games was beating Linden over here at our place. And you have to remember, Linden ended up getting 3rd in 2A. And then obviously our third goal that we were able to achieve winning the sub-state championship game. And I thought we won that over 2 really tough teams. The Olathe Heritage again, they had all their kids back, and then the Pleasant Ridge there in the championship game. When you really look at us being 20-4, it's almost like you look at our losses as much as you look at our wins. The teams we lost to Council Grove, but that's going to happen. But we lost to Southeast of Saline. They got 3rd in 3A. We lost to St. Mary's. They got 2nd in 2A. And we lost to Olpe that got 1st in 1A. Those were 3 of our 4 losses. And we obviously beat Linden, who got 3rd in 2A. So we lost to some very, very, very good teams. And we beat some very, very good teams along the way as well. If you also combine what this team did last year, because it's a lot of the same kids. I mean, a lot of our kids coming back from last year, we went 16-4 last year. We went 20-4 this year. You combine those together, over the last 2 years, we went 36-8. That's a darn good record. I'm guessing every school out there, most schools out there would take that accomplishment in a 2-year period of time. So we're really happy with our group of kids and everything that they've been able to accomplish this year. We'll go ahead and we'll pass out our awards. We'll start with Coach Tice's group, and Logan McKinley was the manager for that group. Is he up here? Lucas Goodyear. Los. I don't need to even say anything else. Just Los. Luke Arnder. Colton Jones. Tyson Gregg. Wyatt Bailey. Hawk Chop Tees. Isaac McCoy. Britton Bird. Luke Kearns. Robert Jones. Ryan Farwell. Did I miss any of the C-teamers? Okay, next we'll pass out our stuff for the group that worked with Coach Bellinger and myself. That would be our JV and our varsity. We had Chase Williams, Tanner Teal, Dalton Schaefer, Noah Lohmeyer, Zane Ornder, Keaton Curley, Brian Davies, and our manager, Conlon Williams. And all the ones that I just passed out, all were participation awards. And then the following are the people that lettered for us this year. Kason Moon, Jace Brenner, Tyler Sage. And I'm going to stop right there. Kason, Tyler, and Jace were our 3 guards that started for us this year and played a lot of minutes. There was several games Tyler and Kason never even came off the floor. They're going to be hard to replace next year. So I might be talking more to the people standing behind me than I am out here. We've got to find some guards for next year because we've got all-state kids coming back, whether it's first team or honorable mention, but they're all post kids. We're going to struggle if we can't find some guards that can handle the ball, that can shoot the ball, that can play really good perimeter defense, and those types of things. So there's opportunities to be had. And like I said, we are going to miss our senior guards because they were really, really good for us this year. Okay, moving on. Brecken Bowen, Cooper Parsons, Riley Patterson, Caden Kirkpatrick. Caden was a first team all-league selection for us this year. And we're at the point in the season where a lot of the postseason awards come out. I know that Caden, I'm pretty sure, got honorable mention All-State in, was it Sports in Kansas? But there'll be others coming out this week, like the Kansas Basketball Coaches Association, Wichita Eagle. I'm not even 100% sure if the Topeka paper does it anymore. They've gotten so bad recently, to be flat honest with you. They don't cover high school sports very well. But there'll be a lot more awards for him to come. Where's Caden?
Yeah, Caden, good job.
Then Landon Boss, same thing. You know, he was a first team all-league player for us. He was a unanimous pick. The most points you can get is 70 points when they pick for all-league, and he got 70. What that means is when coaches are picking, they give a 10 to who they think is the best. That means all 7 of the other coaches thought Landon was the best. So he got 70 of the 70 possible points he could get to be an all-league player, which makes him unanimous. There'll be tons of all-state awards coming out for him. I know he was first team in Sports in Kansas, but the list will just keep coming. I mean, he had a fabulous year, averaged 25 for us, 8 boards a game. You know, I need to mention Caden's stats. He was 15 in points and 6 rebounds a game. Those are good numbers. And the best part is we get them back. They're not done. They're not seniors. They're juniors, so we get to have them back. And then Tanner Schaefer. Tanner Schaefer did some good things for us this year, coming off the bench, accepted his role, did what he needed to do, played hard. Didn't always get the minutes he probably wanted, but he just was a great teammate to have this year. Did I miss anybody? Okay. One thing I forgot to mention, Tyler, see up here? Tyler was an honorable mention, all league, and Tyler's going to get to play in the Flint Hills Optimus game on Saturday. I don't think it was mentioned. Liz is going to get to play in that as well. I think Liz plays at 6 o'clock. His game's right after. That's in the auditorium in Emporia, so if you don't have anything to do on Saturday night, you could come down and support them. Next year, I've already alluded to this. We have some serious shoes to fill. And all you kids back here, whether you're paying attention or not, you might want to think about working on your game and improving and doing something to get better. Those spots are not just going to be handed to anybody. You're going to have to work and earn it. And summer league and all the other stuff, I'm not sure. I don't think Mr. Heward's here. Mr. Riemann, are we done?
If everyone walks very, very, very slowly.
All right, just a second. Basketball players, stay up here for a minute. I want to talk to you. And then you can go. All right, you guys can all go.
Anybody else?